This is a linen, a cloth made of salamander wool. Oh. And it is immune to fire because it's made of salamander wool. And Marco Polo was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. This guy's like, yeah, I'll let you in on a secret. It's not salamander.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
And I'm Kaveh Taherian. Hannah, welcome back to the second season, the number 2, if you will, of our show.
My favorite number to do.
How was your break? I know the audience doesn't know, but you had a bit of a tragedy that you had to experience. Why don't you inform them about what happened?
Well, I fell asleep with my stuff because I like to fall asleep reading stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think I must have fallen asleep and somehow deleted all 500 of my open tabs.
Sleep delete. The old sleep delete method.
I don't, maybe it was like my subconscious being like, free her, let's free her.
End the show. Do not come back for a second season.
It was trying to destroy us. And don't worry, I didn't let it. Anyway, I woke up and I opened my... I know you want nothing more than to be out of this.
I want to be out of everything. Throw me in the wood chipper. Just throw me in there.
I will.
Thank God. Finally.
Yeah,
Sweet
don't
release.
worry. I have one ready for you.
Good.
I'm going to have it pulled up outside your house in like 5 minutes.
It's already here.
Jump out the window straight into it. Dive in like a pro diver, like an Olympic diver. What was I saying? So what a good way to start. I feel manic. I was going to say, so I woke up and I was like, I opened up my tabs and there was one open. And it was like just
what
like
was
a starting
the one?
Page.
Oh, it was a starting
like
page. It wasn't even of something.
It was just I was like, is somebody pranking me? And I looked around, couldn't find nothing. Couldn't restore them. I could only restore the last 200 that were closed.
Oh, that's like a decent number, though. I thought you couldn't restore any of them. I didn't realize it was 200.
Well, here's the problem.
What's that?
All of that was like Christmas shopping receipts. So it was all
and
like,
that's the subject of today's tab is 200 Christmas receipts. An itemized list of all the things that Hannah bought in succession, one by one, and their costs.
For my son, I bought this and how much it's going to hurt my bank account because Christmas is a scam.
Goodness. Well, sorry to hear that.
Well, I ended up talking to Alyssa and I texted you guys and I was like,
tragic.
And you were like, just let yourself be free. I'm jealous. You told me you were jealous of me.
I was.
For my freedom.
Just letting go.
And that helped me turn my attitude around. Luckily, I remembered what I had been researching for this week's tab before all of it was closed down. And I did have to dig again a lot, but
you love digging. That's like your jam.
I do.
The bit of advice I specifically gave you was, you know what, Hannah? That's 500 new tabs that you get to open.
Yep. And I will, not to sound cheesy, but it changed it all for me. So thank you.
Good. That's also why we're back. To open up another 500 tabs for another season of
Welcome back.
mid tabs.
Mid. It's look, who doesn't have a podcast and whose isn't mid? Us.
True. Yeah.
So that's us. Welcome back to season 2. So this is going to be a fun season, I hope.
Hopefully. I don't know. It's not really up to us.
That's true. 2025 is going to be my year.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you told? You told me that. What was that? Did you hear that?
What, did you get attacked by a PC?
I don't know. I think I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I think that was an omen. Speaking of reading into symbolism, I'm going to get into my tab, okay?
Okay, go for it, yeah.
My tab is on what is called salamander wool.
Sorry, salamander wool? Like wool from a sheep?
Yes.
From salamanders.
So, wool from salamanders, okay?
Okay. Salamanders have hair?
It might make sense at the end of this. We'll see.
All right.
So I don't remember when or why I went down this, but I scrolled pretty far back to find this. And I vaguely remember seeing something on Instagram about salamander wool and its mythology. And so, of course, I went and opened a bunch of tabs and don't remember why I was interested, but got right back into reading deeply about it. So just know that during Christmas, while I was going between families' houses and dealing with everyone's emotions, I was reading about salamander wool. So
and somehow that kept you grounded.
And I'm... No. Bro, nothing keeps me grounded.
That's true.
Except the cold, hard ground that I'm going to be buried in. Okay, so I'm not going to say which tabs I started on because that's going to give away the whole thing.
Okay.
But first of all, before we get into the wool of the salamander, I'm going to get into the history of the European fire sale salamander.
Europe's having mythology. A fire sale?
Europe's having a fire sale.
Oh my God.
Oh my. So.
Immediately derailed your tab. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't care about anything. So, first of all, the word salamander is said, you're going to hate this, and then you're going to love this. It's said to be derived from the Greek word salamandra, which means fire lizard.
Mm-hmm, I'm sure.
This is contested because, can you guess what I'm going to say next?
Oh, no. I have no idea what you're going to say next.
It probably most likely comes from a Persian word, meaning...
interesting.
Meaning fire within.
Oh, like AFI.
Yeah. Yes.
Fire inside, technically. They're all Persians, famously.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
And they all have they're all salamanders, actually.
Davy Havoc, classic Persian name.
Pronounce it like Hana Hallam, and it would be.
It was in the Shahnameh. It was a really big deal. It was a huge part of it.
Classic.
He was the 50th king in the line.
He was overthrown by none other than Kaveh the blacksmith, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
More likely it's derived from an older Persian word, as is most things I've come to find out, meaning fire within. And I texted you this, but I was like, halfway through this, I was like, and I'm in ancient Persia.
Yeah.
I found it. I found my way back. No matter what I do, it comes right back to it. And if you think about the word salamander, that doesn't sound like it's like a European,
Solomon.
derived.
I could see it sounding Arabic even at some point.
That's also, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Arabic also an Iranic language? I don't remember.
I don't actually know what Iranic technically means in that context.
Iranic is like a language group. Like there's Celtic languages and there's Iranic and then there's...
I don't actually know. I shouldn't even...
Germanic.
I don't actually know what classifies as Iranic versus, I don't know, Arabic. We just think amongst the Persians, we're like, yeah, it's their language. We have our own language. I don't actually know where the classifications lie within them.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know. This is not us.
Okay, so specifically, the fact that we're going to talk about the European fire salamander, which is this dope-looking salamander. You ready for this thing?
Yeah. I mean, also, if it's a fire salamander, it immediately sounds like a Zoroastrian thing. If it's like if it's an animal and it's elemental fire, it's literally that's all Zoroastrianism has to do with fire. So it makes much more sense.
And there's this long-running belief that salamanders are born of fire.
That's cool.
And that they are an embodiment of the fire elemental.
Yeah.
So it does kind of match up with that. And this myth that salamanders are born of fire goes way back. Like every culture.
Yeah.
Almost every culture has kind of like gotten this like association with fire and salamanders. And they think it's because... Actually, I just got ahead of myself. Let me send you a picture of the European fire salamander. Oh, yeah. So this thing is cool. He's a really cool looking dude.
So he's he's tiny. He kind of looks like a dinosaur. He's jet black with yellow spots across his back. He's cute. He's a cute little guy.
Yeah. They're really cool looking. They're very striking. So they're like you said, jet black, and then they'll have big yellow splotches or orange splotches, and those splotches contain toxins. So
I was gonna say he looks like a poison tree frog or something.
He is. He's poisonous.
Yeah.
And they'll give you like an itchy rash. You won't die, but you won't be happy.
He looks like he was hanging out with like Norman Rockwell or like a painter or somewhere in the studio, and then a bunch of paint just spilled on him, and he just ran out. And he's like, "I guess that's my style paint. Now."
Guess
I guess splatter paint would be more like Jackson Pollock rather than Rockwell, but yes.
I like the idea that Rockwell inadvertently created the salamander by just dropping paint on the floor. It's his leavings, his paint leavings. So as with all salamanders, the fire salamander, the European fire salamander, is not a lizard, turns out. Even though most languages have the word for it being something to do with being a lizard, it is not a lizard. It is an amphibian.
Oh, okay.
Like a frog.
Yeah.
So it is
amphibious.
That's
what I'm saying. It looks like a tree frog. Yeah.
But the fact that it's the shape of a lizard gets everyone messed up. They're like, oh, that's a lizard. Have you ever touched a salamander?
Not that I remember. It's possible. I don't remember. I mean, I haven't touched a lot of lizards lately.
Yeah, well,
I feel like as a kid, I like went, you'd go to like a lot of crazy zoos and stuff and touch stuff like petting. Like, I don't remember a salamander specifically, but
isn't that crazy that as a kid we would just like find ourselves places? No one would tell us we were going. Just show up at a zoo and they're like, touch this snake, and you're like, guess this is what kids do. This is part of being a kid.
No, someone said this. I read like some funny tweet about it where it was like, if you're a kid, you're like, I fell asleep at home on the couch and then I woke up and I'm like in a zoo and you're like, what the shit?
Well, because someone carried me. Literally.
Yeah.
Someone picked me up while asleep, put me in the car and took me to a zoo. Like, I was thinking about that. Like, my kids on the drive home yesterday from Christmas, the 14-hour drive, my kids fell asleep and then they woke up in their beds and they were so like normal. It was all so normal.
Like, this is great. I wish I could just wake up in my bed after I fell asleep somewhere. No one will carry my like 185-pound ass around anywhere.
That is a really nice though. Do you remember like being carried in somewhere by your parents?
Best. I love it. I miss it.
Something is so
comforting,
perfect. About that. Kind of being half awake and knowing that they're going to carry you. Anyway, I don't care about anything.
So lizards.
I don't like aging. Okay. What was I talking about?
Geckos. I don't know.
Geckos? Fire gecko. That stupid one from the car commercial.
Geico. Is he British? Australia? I don't know. New Zealand?
I don't care.
What he is. Yeah.
He's got one of those colonial accents.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. That's me like getting
frogs.
all the energy.
We're talking about poisonous frogs.
We're just not talking about frogs. We're talking about... First you said geckos. Okay. So it's not a lizard. Salamanders are amphibians.
Right. Salamanders.
So they can breathe out of water and they can breathe underwater too.
Sweet.
So they are pretty cool. So these things freaked Europeans out for thousands of years because they were like, these things are toxic, but also why does it seem like they come running out of logs that are on fire? Did the fire create them?
Oh, interesting.
And so they were like, well, it must be that. Well, it turns out they like to hang out in wet, mossy logs.
I was going to say,
right?
It's funny that Europeans weren't just like, they probably lived in those logs, and then when it caught fire, they ran out.
Right. That's exactly what happened.
As you would say.
Or like anybody.
Yeah.
The remember? I'm all over the place. Look, leaning in, as you say.
Yeah.
So they tended to hang out in these old, gross, moldy wood and logs, and so they bring the logs in to be burned and they'd light them on fire and all the salamanders would scurry out. And so some people were like that they're born of fire.
I mean, it's kind of fun.
Not everybody.
I like that.
Other people are like, that's not true.
Yeah.
So, but it caught on. They also, after forest fires, would kind of be the only ones living because they would go into streams because they're amphibious. So they would like duck into these little rivers, the forest would burn, they'd get out, and some person would see like these salamanders just like walking on ashes and be like, whoa,
that's cool.
That thing is probably immune to fire.
Yeah.
So one person, I think it was Da Vinci, didn't write it down, doesn't matter, said that they're so chilly that they can not only be born of fire, but they could put out fire by the contact.
Oh.
Says that they're so cold, and that they same way as ice does, and that it vomits from its mouth a milky saliva that can also put out fire, which that milky saliva is actually just poisonous. So
it poisons the fire and it dies.
Yeah. That was Pliny the Elder, by the way, not Da Vinci.
Same. Easy mistake.
Okay. So besides being this really cool and fascinating creature, how did it become associated with wool? Let's go all the way back to 1250 AD. A lot of anger just came out there. We're hanging out. You ready? Picture this. We're hanging out in Central Asia with none other than Marco Polo.
Sweet.
Explorer. That dude. And he's hanging out with this people called the Tatars. Tatars?
I'm assuming we're in the pool, right?
We are, and we're yelling.
Yeah. Marco!
There's kids.
Yeah.
People peeing in the pool.
Salamanders coming in and out.
Just in and out. And they're like, oh no, look at the... Oh, by the way, they used to say that salamanders were so poisonous that the water they touched could kill a whole army.
Oh.
And it couldn't.
No.
So Marco Polo writes down about this experience that he met these Tatars that are Turkic. They're like Turkic, Asian, Mongolian, like somewhere in there. And he went and saw them, and he saw that they were doing this kind of like party trick with this piece of cloth, that they would throw this piece, they would get this cloth dirty, and then they would throw it in fire, and then they would pull it out unburned, completely shining white and clean.
Whoa.
And he was like, what the heck is that? You know, what are you doing? Because he's Marco Polo and curious.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is a linen, a cloth made of salamander wool. Oh. And it is immune to fire because it's made of salamander wool. And Marco Polo was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. There's no way there's salamander in that. But they kept saying like, yeah, we call it salamander wool and here's how we make it. And Marco Polo just did not buy it. And so he goes to talk to this guy who's the miner of salamander wool.
Mines of salamander wool.
Also,
it all feels very Lord of the Rings. What's the thing called that Galadriel gives?
Galadriel.
Galadriel, whatever.
Galadriel.
Doesn't matter. Kate.
The gal.
Like Kate gives him. What's the thing called? The vest, the sparkly vest.
Oh, Mithril.
Mithril, yeah. I was like, it sounds like Mithril especially.
No, it really does. So this cloth that they had that was fireproof kind of freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
But Marco Polo was like, can you show me where you find this salamander wool? And this guy's like, yeah, I'll let you in on a secret. It's not salamander.
Yeah.
But it comes from a mine. And here it is. And so he takes him to this mine where they mine this fibrous stuff that is found between rocks. And it looks almost like hair. Mm-hmm. And this magical stuff is commonly known as asbestos. So, yeah. So salamander wool is asbestos. All right.
Man.
The word
what
asbestos,
a twist.
Oh, just wait. The word asbestos means unquenchable.
Oh, I didn't know
because
that.
Because it is extremely resistant to fire. And kind of, they called it the miracle mineral. Because I didn't know this. Asbestos is a mineral. Did you know that?
I just always thought asbestos was like cotton candy.
It is. Well, yeah, because you know why? It's fibers. It's like these minuscule fibrous rocks that you can spin into thread or string and make things out of. Or you can puff it all up like the stuff we breathe in and die from in our houses.
I think they don't do that famously anymore. It was like from when we were kids.
Well, they do.
Oh, interesting.
There's only been only 100 countries have banned asbestos.
Are we one of them?
Russia, yes.
Okay.
Russia still makes it on mat, like so much of it. And
I'm sure there's still some some sort of like industrial use for it somewhere or something.
Oh, probably.
I'm not good at science. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when it comes to this kind of sciencey stuff, I am an idiot.
Me neither. Okay, here's my vague understanding of asbestos, okay? So this guy shows Marco Polo the asbestos mine. And like here's why we call it the asbestos mine.
I will show you such delights in my asbestos mines.
It shows Gimli like assisted breathing.
Yeah.
Like
regale yourself with the cotton candy of the asbestos mines.
The forbidden cotton candy.
This is my cousin.
And this Turkish guy is like, the real truth is that the salamander is no beast, as they allege in our part of the world. Sorry, Marco Polo says this. I'm all over the place. Lean in. The man dug up salamander, don't get near me, or asbestos as we know it, and processed its fibers into napkins. When first made, these napkins are not very white, but by putting them in the fire for a while, they come out as white as snow. And so again, whenever they become dirty, they are bleached by being put in fire. So cleansed by fire. And the guy showed him how they made it. So he's like, oh, first we take the rocks, we take the like asbestos hairs or whatever. Here, let me send you a picture of asbestos.
Yeah.
It's gross. Made me really uncomfortable. Okay, here's a rock with asbestos on it.
Whoa. It looks, how do I describe it? It looks like a
tooth.
A coconut. Oh, it also looks like, coconut, but this also just looks like coconut an ancient tooth. Like a fossil tooth or something.
A furry, fossilized tooth.
It looks like that rock just has a bush.
Oh, wow. You know what? It does.
Oh, no. What is the baleen? Is that what it's called? The whale mouth? Like hair,
baleen,
whatever.
Yeah,
that's sort of what it looks like, but on a rock.
And you can see the seam, the asbestos seam between these rocks that looks like it's just right between. You see that?
Or you could say it's the rock it's got some fringe on it. It's very 70s.
I like bush.
Yeah, it's bush or fringe. Yeah, exactly.
Rock bush.
Rock bush, exactly.
Oh, that 70s rock bush. Okay, so the guy explains, he's like, we call it this because salamanders are also immune to fire, and this stuff makes you immune to fire. So they can wear it and interact with fire, and nothing happens. And he explains that they crush the rocks, crush the fibers, dry the fibers, then they wash it to get all the dirt and rocks off, and then they spin it like actual wool. And Marco Polo thought this was pretty cool, so he wrote a lot about it. So asbestos, they called it the miracle mineral because tragically it was one of the most versatile, easy to use, strong substances we've ever found.
That's awesome.
And it seemed seemingly like it was like going to solve everything. It was a good insulator. It was good at each strand was like a spider's web. Like it was very, very tight, very strong.
Yeah.
And when you wove it together, it was as strong as piano wire.
Whoa.
And so it was just this lightweight, amazing, cheapish to make. I mean, don't worry. They still exploited a lot of laborers to get this, but asbestos was kind of this amazing thing. And before it became used in buildings and stuff like that, it was used as kind of these like weird magical blankets and armor. So knights would wear it underneath their armor in Europe, like full asbestos suits. Just like shirts, pants, headpieces, so they could be, because they would use fire in battle, and these knights would be like, oh yeah, no way I'm going to roast it in this tin can. I'm wearing this poisonous suit instead. And so knights would wear it. Also, there were these performers that would wear it and understandably like show everyone that like, look, I'm magic, I can hold fire. And
I see.
They dip their hands in asbestos. They dip their hands in asbestos and wear gloves, and it was kind of like a circus sideshow in some places, like traveling entertainers.
Maybe we can bring that back. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think that would be good.
I think that might get us more listeners to the podcast if you and I just dipped ourselves into asbestos and just lit each other on fire back and forth, and then deliver our tabs.
Goodness.
Yeah,
screaming.
Yeah, we're not screaming because we're not burning because we're protected.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Should we incorporate asbestos into 500 open tabs?
Asbestos cast. That's what's going to be.
Asbestos
cast. Because ass is the bestest.
Arguable. While we know asbestos to be a deadly and carcinogenic mineral today, it's been used for as long as we have recorded history. So going back all the way to the Finnish tribes in Finland, the groups in Finland that had used it for fire-resistant pots and bowls, and they've like imbued it into like their pottery and stuff. That was like 5,000 years ago.
Wow.
The ancient Greeks would spin the fibers into cloth and use it for blankets or tablecloths or something to protect from fire. Egyptians and many others used asbestos cloth in funeral pyres. So they'd wrap the pharaoh in it, burn it, and then they could separate the pharaoh's ashes from the other ashes, so they didn't get mixed in.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, because the blanket wouldn't burn.
Yeah.
It became a huge import from India, especially, reaching all over the Middle East and Europe. It was considered kind of magical in some places, and other places were like, yeah, this is just, like, for example, Pliny the Elder was like, I think this is from the linseed plant because it looks like linen, which means asbestos is a vegetable. And so for a while, Greeks, asbestos? Probably. Humans always end up eating something.
No, they didn't like vegetables. They weren't. They're like, we're keto. We're only eating like straight meat. That's it.
Those Romans.
They got shredded for our 300 war.
For our battles. They got shredded to
Spartans,
destroy the Persian army. Sorry. Sorry if I triggered you. Can't wait to die. And it seemed to... So in Rome, in Greece, they were like, this is a vegetable for sure, right?
Definitely.
And, that was Rome. It was Rome. I get the two mixed up. They're pretty much the same. One of them copied the other. And they both copied...
Persia.
Yep.
Persia.
So they also used it to make everlasting lamps. So like the Roman Vestal Virgins that would be in the temples, they would have these everlasting lamps that were coated in asbestos.
Man.
The wicks.
Famously created by Willy Wonka. It was a secret recipe.
He ate it. Oh my! That dude's death was
everlasting
brutal.
Lamps.
Just pictured him just eating asbestos.
Exactly. Yeah. Asbestos candy.
Picture like when you get sand in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Happens to me all the time.
At the beach.
Because I just love to eat sand.
This is so dumb. This show is so dumb. Charlemagne. Okay, so
Charlemagne, the king, the emperor.
The king of France had a magic tablecloth that he would like throw on the fire and impress all of his guests when he pulled it out completely bleached white. Because there's a very specific type of asbestos called chrysoline.
Chrysoline, like it's Christ-like?
Oh, speaking of Christ,
yeah.
The salamander was actually a symbol of Christ for a long time in the Catholic Church.
Did Jesus catch fire at some point and come out?
No. The Catholics just love symbols.
They just love salamanders.
They're like, this thing can't burn, neither can Jesus. So they have these like symbols of the salamander just sitting in a fire. Like I said, India, these trade routes would go through the Middle East, and
yeah.
That's where Persia is.
Oh.
And do you want to know what they did with this asbestos blankets and cloth?
They used it to sacrifice or something. I don't know. I have no idea.
Decorations and party tricks.
Hell yeah. We are good hosts.
Oh, for real. The wealthy upper class would experience this king's party trick of him, again, eating, using a napkin, and then throwing it on the fire, and then him miraculously pulling it out, and they're all like,
whoa!
Untouched and bright white. And they called these, Persians called... Here's where it gets weird, because everyone's like, oh, the Greeks invented the name salamander, but the Persians called salamanders samanders.
Samanders?
Samander? Yeah. And so, I wanted to hear about, so the king I was telling you about that do the tricks was the Khosrow.
Yeah.
The second. And he was alive in 590-ish, and he would have this napkin that he would like show off. And according to like this
he's got a napkin that he would show off.
Oh, they also used it to like adorn, like decorate their bodies, like fancy. Anyway, so yeah, they all got poisoned.
Asbestos, yeah.
So the cloths made of asbestos in Persian are azarshost.
Azarshost.
I sent them. Do you know what that means?
I think it might mean like shost is like to wash or cleanse. It's like fire cleanse, I think is what it might roughly translate to.
Oh, that's what the cloths of asbestos were called.
Shost, okay, was the other word.
No, that's the word for asbestos.
Which one?
Azarshost.
Azarshost, okay.
Azar. And then the cloths were called the other one I sent you.
Shost, okay.
So this is probably where they think the association came from, was in Persia when they associated salamanders with asbestos.
Oh, we're the ones who ruined it, basically.
Yes. You guys are the ones who then ended
spreading misinformation.
Spreading misinformation, and you called it a lizard. They called it a lizard. Everyone called it a lizard. It's not a lizard, it's a salamander. But there was some Persians believed that the fiber was the fur of an animal called salamander, which lived in fire and died when exposed to water. So this may be where the belief came from and where the asbestos link came from. So we don't really know, though. It's either that or the Turkish people, or honestly, it could just be like even older than that. And this is where we see it emerge.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. I was like, they fully were just like, look at our parlor trick with this poisonous cloth.
You didn't know
how dope this is.
Check out my lead shoes.
Know, it's awesome. Yeah. Imagine watching that.
Yeah, you're just
like the king just magically pulled this out of fire.
Yeah.
I think I might support the king.
And as we know, Persians were all about fires. We're all about, Zoroastrianism.
I was thinking
like
about Nowruz and the fire jumping and stuff.
Fire's a big part of our jam. So the king that can control fire, at least for a parlor trick, symbolically, would probably be somebody. Everybody would just be like, "That's our guy."
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's what the Persians did with it, and fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, and of course, asbestos was used for literally everything.
Everything, yeah.
If you can name it, asbestos was used for it, which means that there was factories that were mostly women would interact with raw asbestos fibers. So breathing in these microscopic fibers that would then coat their lungs, and they'd get mesothelioma and cancer. And die very young.
Other stuff, from that same time.
Asbestos jaw. It's just a beautiful woolly beard.
Doesn't catch fire though. That's the important thing.
No.
It would be cool to have a fire beard. I would be into that.
I was going to say the only thing they found From his corpse was his beard. It was in pristine condition.
I wish I could just have my beard be on fire all the time. That way I just would
Totally
stop
dope.
playing with it. I would just be like, ow,
You
ow.
just burn yourself.
Yeah.
You do. That is one of your things.
I never stop. Here's the other thing too that's funny. Sidebar. This doesn't even matter. But like everything in the house that I touch, because I touch my beard all the time, I get beard oils. So things just get like a grease on them. Not because I'm greasy. It's just the beard oil that you naturally produce.
Well,
so
yeah,
my
it's phones like hair
get
oil.
covered.
It's like if I'm doing
exactly.
This. Yeah.
But your beard is very specific kind of oil, so it was funny.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's your face oil mixed with like
Oh,
hair
it's
as
true.
opposed to just like the top of your head.
I think the concept of a beard just actually sunk into me.
Yeah. It's hair from your face.
You got okay. You got face hair.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Anyway, I'm always doing this. I'm always doing this all the time.
When I edit the reels, I'm like, you're always
just constantly playing with my face and the beard, and Sarah will just have to hit my hand and be like, stop, because I just keep plucking. But I asked her to, not like out of anything mean. I'm just like, I can't stop doing it, and she'll do it. So if my face was on fire, maybe I'd be better at stopping.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
You'd also burn everything around you, which also problem solved.
Yeah, seriously. Get
Sean, it's funny you say that because Sean's the same way, because I pick my skin and he'll just be like, stop it.
Stop.
Yeah. And he'll grab my hand and like pull. Anyway, just constant. But while I'm recording, I am always doing this.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
I'm just pacing back. I'm just doing this, or I spin in the chair, and then I'm touching my face, and then I'm just I can't sit still.
Of pacing.
Yeah.
I realized this Christmas that my entire family, all we do is pace.
Really?
We all just pace around the house.
My mom and all the aunts do this, where they'll do like, they'll take one strand of hair and they'll just look, and then they'll do like.
Interesting. Isn't that weird how it's like genetic in a way?
It's weird.
In a way.
My dad, meanwhile, none. It's clearly from my mom's side.
He pulled it all out.
That's why he's bald. Yeah, he pulled all his hair out.
We all pick the entire Hillam side of the family just rips our skin. Yeah, it's. Anyway, so
Industrial Revolution, Fosse Jaw.
This brings us into the Industrial Revolution, which that's when unions start to be formed, right? And of course, understandably, there's an asbestos workers union that is formed, and this union still exists, the asbestos workers, but they don't work with asbestos anymore, and they rename themselves to the Insulation Union because they're using different kinds of insulation now.
The Insulation Union.
Yeah. And I'm going to send you their logo.
Okay.
I want you to see their logo.
Is it a salamander with a giant bush?
Oh, it is so lewd. It's just... Now, hold on. Oh, yeah. It's the International Association of Heat and Frost Insulators and Allied Workers. So they've been around since 1903.
Wow.
And the reason I know so much of this stuff is because...
You are actually
logo.
asbestos.
They try to put me in buildings and I won't let them. Okay, so here's the logo of the union.
Oh, nice. It looks like a crest, and it appears to be a salamander on top of like a pipe, like a sewage pipe of some sort with a giant fire underneath it. And is there smoke coming out on the top? Are those little? Okay, that's a super cool logo.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, and it's got like the whatever bottom flag crest thing, like from universities. It says 1903, 2003. That's a lot of fun. I love that. I put that. That'd be fun on a hat. That drawing.
Oh, I'm sure it's on a hat. So this man, one of the members of this union, is named Tom Lemon, and Tom, a few years ago, this is where I got most of my info. It's from Tom.
Okay.
Tom wanted to know where and why this logo existed and why there was a barbecued lizard on it, as he said. And he starts asking around, and nobody knows. He kind of puts the pieces together. He reads some books. He's like, okay, salamanders are immune to fire. We handle asbestos, and that's like also immune to fire. So they must have a link.
Connection, yeah.
And so he, in school, for his grad program, I think, he went back to school and he wrote this 30-page research paper on this logo.
Oh, no way.
And he is such a good paper. I'm linking to it.
You read the whole thing?
So good. I read the whole thing. I stop, but I was still going. It was fun.
Nice.
He's a good writer. He's funny. And that's where I got all this information from he wanted to track down this link as far back as he could go. And so he finally figures it out and realizes that it's like, from a Persian word and possibly from Turkey or China. And then his big question was like, why did the two become linked? And it's honestly just because of association. He found out that, salamanders had this separate mythology, and asbestos also had this separate thing, and they were kind of similar. And so then also they used salamanders. Yeah, so it merged. And that is my clunky story about why salamanders and asbestos. Salamanders are the symbol for asbestos.
I loved it. Also, this Tom guy sounds like a cool dude.
I looked him up. Yeah, maybe we can cut this part out, but he did have some run-in with some money issues and the union.
I see.
But he's still around. He's a very prominent union member in San Diego.
That's awesome.
And I know I missed some stuff, but isn't that weird?
That is wild. Also, I'm really excited to go find pictures of salamanders that are on fire, or myself draw them. I think that would be a lot of fun.
There are so many. Going back hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Depictions of salamanders just surviving in fire. Also, you got to go look up these. I didn't have a picture, but these salamander performers.
Mm-hmm.
They called themselves something with salamanders, and they would just deck themselves out in asbestos suits and just catch themselves on fire for a crowd. And humans are
They're
just amazing.
Stunt men now, basically stunt people. Yeah.
Yes. And the biggest heartbreaking thing is that we were so close to having this wonderful material. That could have
stupid
done
lungs didn't get
so
ruined.
much, but it's highly toxic. How heartbreaking.
It is. I love it when nature is like, here's this perfect thing. But also, I wonder if we could have just used it minimally and it would have been fine.
Maybe don't wear an outfit.
Yeah, and then cover your entire house and body and all, and maybe little bits of it. It's almost, one might say, like nature will not be controlled.
Oh, yeah. And we're idiots to think.
Or the elements are not one to be controlled in the first place. That's what makes them elements.
Elements.
Hot take, I know, but
that's a good take. Hot take. Get
hot
it
take,
fired.
exactly. That's why I said that. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's my tab.
Thank you.
Oh, and the articles I read was from Wessex Archaeology, Salamanders and Lung Disease: The History of Asbestos, and then Tom's paper, The Historical Significance of the Salamander and its Relationship with Asbestos and the Asbestos Workers.
Very cool.
There you go.
Very interesting.
How are you? What do you... Give me a second. All right, what do you have for me today? Better be good, so I don't yawn.
No promises there. Okay. Yeah. So, something that we discussed, you and I did earlier, was let's think people might want to know where these ones come from, or how we come across them, and how that might be interesting. So over the break, Sarah and I, we took a little trip and we went to visit my old friend Kelly, who lives close to Hearst Castle. Sadly, not in Hearst Castle, because then it would have been funny. It would have been like, it's my friend Kelly Hearst. She lives in this castle, and we went and stayed with her. She's killer snow globe collection. It's great.
Dude, I would...
I don't think I would want to live in Hearst Castle. It was the first time I went there.
No, it has a weird vibe,
yeah,
right?
It's also not really well designed. I didn't really care for...
it's a mishmash of...
Yeah, I was
I wouldn't call it beautiful. I'd call it a unique California abomination of a castle and a beautiful home at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, as we were taking the bus ride back, I just looked at Sarah and I was like, goes to show you, money can't buy you taste.
It can buy you pieces of taste.
Pieces of taste.
Smashed together.
Smashed. It's like oil and vinegar. Just trying to...
You're like, what is happening? I just like that pool. Anyway,
it was fun. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I just was like, I didn't really know what to expect.
Man.
Yeah,
he was an awful man and with bad taste. So
anyway, so Kelly lives around there, so we went and stayed with her. We popped into Hearst Castle. Cool. We went and saw all the elephant seals. It was a lot of fun. So for context, Kelly was Josie and I's third leg when we were in school. So remember I told you we were paired with the three of us to make those movies. That's how I chose it. So Kelly's the other person. So you'd love Kelly. You'd be great with her. So if Josie...
Is she insane like the rest of your friends?
So if Josie was if Josie's the thoughtful kind of academic side of me. Kelly is the insane weirdo artsy alien cryptid side of me.
I don't know how that is.
Although Kelly's also very smart and sciencey. She's great. She's a lot of fun.
Interesting.
Okay. But long story short,
does she listen?
I don't know if she does actually. Although she does listen to a lot about it. So this is my point too, is that her and her boyfriend were telling me about the tab that I ended up doing today, because as good as I am at discovering like weird, cool stuff to bring to our tens of listeners, Kelly's my friend who knows like the real shit.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, she's the person where I'm like, I'm just the mid podcaster who does like the overview, like Good Morning America version of it. But like, Kelly's like, oh no, you got to learn about this. Or like, they're just randomly telling me about some stuff. And I'm like, what?
How do you know this?
Yeah, I never even heard of this. So on the surface, the story is pretty straightforward. And sometimes there's a man. And I won't say a hero, because what's a hero? But sometimes there's a man. And I'm talking about this dude here. And sometimes there's a man. Well, he's the man.
Am I not catching something?
Yeah, you're not. He's the man for his time and place. He fits right in there. It's Big Lebowski reference. That's what it was.
Oh, never seen it.
I know you haven't.
That's the first I've never seen it of the year.
Sometimes there's a man. It's like a cowboy voice.
Okay.
Those who know will know and think it's not funny.
Look, I'll be better someday.
No,
all right?
It's fine. So, again, I'm just going to tell you a very straightforward story about a man.
Okay.
But it will lead to something, I promise. So just go along for the ride. You ready?
Okay.
So our story begins in Berlin on June 5th, 1830.
Okay.
With the birth of a man named Charles August Albert Dellschau, or Dellschau, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Oh, interesting.
Dellschau. Dellschau.
Oh,
Dellschau.
I have no idea. Dellschau.
So Charles was the third.
I thought you say it like Californian, Del something.
Yeah, that's true. I do make it like Spanish sounding.
like
Dellschau.
Spanish. But it could be Dellschau. Yeah, anyway.
I think it's Dellschau. But so Charles was the third of 13 children.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a bad number to be.
It's a lot of kids. Yeah, third of 13.
You're not the oldest. You're not the youngest. You're just in the mix.
All the 8 middle children there.
I bet he's just fine.
Yeah, right?
He was just fine.
His parents were Frederic Franck and Heinrich Adolf Dellschau, a master butcher.
Oh.
Yeah.
My dad's real good at cutting up flesh.
I mean, I think having a dad butcher would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I always think being a butcher would be fun because it's like drawing, because you're just like cutting like on lines and
true.
all that kind of stuff.
And then, it's so satisfying to like wrap it up and then slap it on the table.
Yeah. It just like, you can get real. I mean, not that I'm a butcher, obviously, by any means, but even like the tiny bits of meat that I get to cut when you're in the kitchen, you're like, oh, this is fun. If I had like a really sharp knife and you can get like really precise.
Interesting.
It's like chopping vegetables and stuff. It's fun. I really like all that stuff.
Cool. Interesting. Anyway, good to know.
Despite having a dad with a cool ass job like master butcher, things weren't great for old Chuckles growing up.
Masturbator. Sorry. When you said master butcher, that's just the only thing I thought.
Master butcher. Food was scarce due to poor harvests.
Yeah.
Rioting was common as the prices for potatoes, pork, and rye skyrocketed or plummeted on a whim. And it was hard living. It was not great.
Yeah.
And this eventually culminated with a failed German Revolution in 1848, which was a tab I very proudly decided to not get sidetracked by.
Wow.
How much do you know about the German Revolution in 1848?
I know that, again, it's all related to family history, that my family was in Prussia.
Oh, they were?
Or they were in, hold on. They were in this like crappy little town in Prussia, and they left because things were just really bad.
Yeah.
And it was around the 50s, the 1850s or 60s.
Okay, so this is exactly what this is.
Great.
Yeah.
Sorry, again. This is like the one with the Yorkshire and then Leeds. I'm like, oh yeah, my family worked as weavers in those factories.
Or like your grandfather in the...
Lineberger. Look, we're everywhere.
Yeah, you've touched every bit of history. That's funny.
My German ancestors were, I don't know, there's something wrong. Okay, never mind. There's something mysterious about them that I don't understand, that I've never understood. But they come from, Prussia. Some come from Rhineland. This is before Germany became a country.
Yeah, this is technically Prussia at that time too. Yeah.
So this is in Prussia.
Yes, it's the same thing. Yeah, so it was modern day Berlin-ish area, but basically it would have been Prussia at the time. So yeah, exactly like that. There's a failed attempt in 1848.
I've placed it.
You've placed it, yeah. And the revolution doesn't go well. And so it's perhaps because of this unrest that old Chuck sets his eyes on America.
Oh,
and they're all like, we're getting the hell out of here.
Let me guess. Does he go to Cook County, Illinois? I'm wondering. They all went there.
I don't think so. No, at least there's no record of it. He might have. I don't know. I didn't see it in my research if he did.
I just was being annoying. Okay,
so records are a bit shoddy, but people think he most likely arrived stateside around 1849 before he was even 20 years old.
That's early for German. I feel like we didn't really get many German. No, I guess it's the time. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't the big influx at that time necessarily. Were the Germans, but anyway, 1849, he lands stateside. Now, we all know that getting to and from Europe now sucks. Especially with Boeing trying to kill us all and doors blowing off and all that crap. But at least...
Just the worst.
I know this is painful to say, but at least we get to fly. At least we get to do it in a plane.
I don't know. I would love to go on a boat and puke for 3 weeks rather than die in a plane.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, can you imagine coming to America on a boat at that time? It's not like a nice Viking cruise.
It's bad.
It's some rickety...
Real bad.
Yeah, it's a death trap, and it's got like...
The Atlantic Ocean is awful.
Awful. And all the holes are plugged in with like goat intestine condoms or something horrific like that.
Sure. Yeah. Or like asbestos, probably.
Exactly. They're all covered in asbestos. There's all these salamanders crawling over everyone's body.
Everyone's like, what are these lizards? Get them out of here.
Yeah.
Have I already mentioned that I got really into reading ship logs?
You may have,
at
but
one point.
What were you going to say?
Yeah. Oh, just how truly horrific these boat rides were. They were like 4 to 6 weeks of straight seasickness, storms, like fighting, being exploited for labor, because once you're on the boat, what are you going to do? You're trying to work. No food, no water. They would get stranded. They'd get overturned. It was hell. Like the descriptions of the puke going back and forth on the floor like waves that I read. Made me want to throw up. Go on.
But yeah, so it would have been grueling, just like you said, all those details. And more importantly, lengthy. It would have taken a long, long time.
Yeah.
I looked it up briefly, but it's like, depending on where they would have landed, it could have gone anywhere from like maybe 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
And that's...
Bad weather, it was like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But then fast forward to 20 to 30 years, then they upgraded the ships.
Yeah.
And they could do it in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But still,
it's like weeks. It's not, you're not dealing with like a 5-hour flight with like maybe a connection or a nonstop. It's nothing like that. And that's just people who are like going from mainland Europe to like the East Coast. It's like if you're trying to go to to California or something, like you're going all the way down to like Cape Horn. Yeah, exactly. To Chile, coming all the way up. So that's like whatever, 50 years it takes to do that whole trip. And
insane.
Yeah. Crazy. And so apparently he first ends up in, and he settles in, not initially. So apparently records think that he ends up in Fort Bend, Texas. And it's not clear how he got there. He might have done whatever, the Bend, and come back around on the other side, or he might have gone into New York and then done like this crazy going across, America overland to get there. Like, but depending on which way he came, it was probably weeks or even months. Just being on a shitty boat, everyone smells, illness, terrible food, weeks on end. Just no. But whichever way he did come, I know for a fact he felt the same thing we all do when traveling. And I'm sure that at some point he's on this boat and he looks up at the skies above him, looking for something stable to focus on. And he sees the heavens and he thought, this sucks. I hate it. I want to die. And there has to be a better way.
Oh my goodness.
So now, strictly in terms of bookkeeping and official historical records, which I know you love.
I do.
Not a whole lot can be 100% verified about his life, at least for the first couple of decades after his arrival.
Yeah.
So
that's typical. A lot of people didn't, like smaller towns did not start keeping records until like the 1870s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've like called around. I'm trying to find this one great grandma of mine that no one knows anything about. And I called the records department and they told me that. They're like, oh, we didn't start keeping track till like 1870. And this lady died in 1865 and nothing. There's nothing. So you just have to guess based on wills. From what I've done with my own family history, it's like you got to go by wills and who they give things to and where those people were located. Anyway,
I love it.
Go on.
No, I'm laughing because I'm like I've
triangulated so many things.
I love it. It's perfect.
Based on like here's the key. Look at who's around them and who's related to them and what they do for work. Oh, am I okay? Like if I weren't an artist, this is what I would do.
This is exciting. Anyway, so he appears to have fought briefly on the side of the Confederacy. Not clear as
no one's perfect.
Right. I don't know if that was just like he's some immigrant who came in and they're like, here, fight here, and like we'll try. It might have just been a scam.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think he was somebody who's like, we got to keep our slaves and states' rights or whatever. There's no indication in anything that I read that was necessarily something he gave a shit about. But again,
did he live with, I guess you don't know, but like,
we don't know.
Live somewhere to work? Okay. Cause he could have been like, this could help pay off his.
That might also be part of it. Yeah. I don't know. That's
they would
very
do
possible.
That a lot.
Yeah. But basically that's the only thing you really have in that time that's officially on the record before he settles in Texas and he takes on his father's profession as a butcher.
We're back in Texas. Old Rip.
Old Rip, exactly. So, like I said, and at that time in the 30s and 40s in Prussia, he would have basically just been like apprenticing under his dad, who was a master butcher at that point. So he's got that skill set as he's doing it. So now he's in Texas. He's cutting up animals. He's doing his little like butcher dance. He's tossing his knife in the air and like spinning around and catching it. Just like Benihana style.
Except he's a sickly German immigrant, but he's still fun.
He's having a good time. And this gets the attention of a widower by the name of Antonia Helt.
Hot.
And Antonia Helt is like, hey.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she did. I like how you handle those cuts.
Yeah.
Those shanks. I don't know.
Yeah, shanks. Sure, why not? Yeah.
Sure.
And in 1861, Charles and Antonia marry. He becomes stepfather to her 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth.
Okay.
No, it's fine. Nothing bad happens with that.
Okay.
And he and Antonia go on to have 3 children. Mary.
He's like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
No, none of this 13 stuff.
Boom. 1, 2, 3. Mary, Bertha, and Edward.
Okay.
And for a brief moment, it seems like things are all going to work out for this guy.
Oh.
He's got a 1-acre lot in Richmond, a horse.
That's pretty good.
A couple of cows. He's butching.
Sure.
He's got a wife and kids. And he's not just a stepdad, but he's a dad that stepped up.
Yes. We love a dad that steps up.
He's living the American dream. No more of that Prussian instability of his youth. God bless. Sadly, Charles Dellschau's life is one that is mired with tragedy.
Oh. Why is this exactly the same way that my German immigrants' lives went?
Seems like it was for a lot of people. So, in an unfathomable 2-week period in 1877.
Oh, no.
He lost his wife, Antonia.
Yeah.
Followed shortly by their son, Edward.
Was it cholera?
Possibly due to yellow fever, which was rampant in parts of Texas around that time.
Sad.
Yeah. 2 weeks, your wife and your son.
Dude, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Like, you'd lose all, like, I saw a gravestone in England once. It had like 4 kids on it, and they all died within like 2 weeks of each other.
Within 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Holy
like
shit.
These diseases would wipe through towns, and you'd lose everybody.
Yeah.
But we should never get vaccinated for anything. Continue.
Yeah. Vaxxed? Question mark. So he soon, despite all this, remarries.
Hey, yay.
But then his second wife dies less than a year later.
Oh.
Can you believe it?
No. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. That
sucks. How'd she die?
I'm not sure. I couldn't find the record on how she died specifically. Dies from something, some other, whatever, like stubbed her toe on like a rusty nail. Who knows?
Nail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then his daughter Mary dies too, probably. Yeah. She disappears from the records rather than an actual death notice. So it's assumed that she's death. Like, Hundo Dunzo.
Hundo Dunzo in the ground.
Yeah. And as a final insult from God, Bertha, his last remaining child, battles tuberculosis and ultimately succumbs to illness at just 43 years old.
Oh.
Absolutely brutal.
Wow. That's
brutal.
I want to cry for this man.
Yeah, I know.
What about Elizabeth? Did she die?
Nevertheless, she persisted.
Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth, the stepdaughter. Okay.
So in 1898, after losing 2 wives and 3 children, Charles moves in with his stepdaughter Elizabeth, who herself had become a widow and left to raise 8 children, which, dear Lord.
Look, it's good I'm alive now. Because if that were me, I would simply die. I would simply be like, it should have been me who died.
Yep.
Give me tuberculosis. Somehow give it to me.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah. Brutal.
Brutal. So Charles is now in his mid-60s. So it's not like he's chasing the kids around the house and changing diapers or anything. And this man is like broken, obviously, by this point.
The fact that he's still alive would be enough for me to just, if I were him, to just want to die.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
So
it's sad.
And it's while living in this Houston home that he's finally able to reflect on his life of both fortune and tragedy.
Okay.
And I'm sure at some point he looked up to the same skies above him when he was traveling by boat all those years earlier, and once again longed for respite from the turbulence of living.
I think I know where this is going.
I don't think you do.
I think I might. Let's see.
And he decides to take all his grief and anger and memories and experiences and compile them into something tangible. Something to say to the world, I was here. Because who knows how much longer any of us will be alive.
Okay.
Lucky for us, Charles Dellschau would spend the next 20 years working on what would become his magnum opus.
Okay.
Now you're probably thinking,
you're really leading me. This is slow. You're just drawing this out.
Now you're probably thinking his family must have been like, oh my God, what are you working on, Grandpa? That's incredible. Can I see? Can you show me? You're such a genius. But as you and I can personally attest to, when you have a high creative output and also weekly meltdowns about your own talents, after a certain point, people in your family will basically check out and you become background noise, and which totally fair.
To quote my cousin, I totally forgot you had a podcast. To my face in front of the whole family. It's fine. No, how did you, perfect. Weekly meltdowns. Yep. That was too real.
Yep.
Is what I'm trying to say. Okay.
I have to quote an old friend of mine who was from Georgia. He said, Kaveh, you are exhausting.
I have been told the same thing.
Yep.
But he said it lovingly.
Yeah, it was a very like Southern jab, like of affection.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
why do I not find you exhausting?
Because you're also exhausting. That's why.
There it is.
That's how it works.
Ding ding ding. Okay.
So Charles is just plugging away uninterrupted for years and years and years until his very long life.
Sorry, Kaveh, you are exhausting. In a Georgia accent, I can't handle it.
You are exhausting. Anyway.
You are exhausting. Okay.
So Charles plugs
his
away.
Long life
is uninterrupted until his very long life finally comes to an end in 1923. He almost made it to 100.
That's old.
Yeah. So much torment. What a curse.
Oh my gosh! That didn't even like shorten his life. He was like what, 80 something?
93, I believe, is how old he was.
93?
Yeah.
Oh, because he was born in the 18. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, dude lived till 93. Can you believe it?
That's too long to be that sad.
Yeah, exactly. And when he dies, Grandpa Chuck's belongings are basically just shoved into the attic of the Stelzig residence. Because, like, whatever, now it's the roaring 20s and people are like, oh, we're all drilling for oil and getting rich, and old Rip's about to be coming out of his time capsule. We don't have time for this Marie Kondo bullshit.
Don't have time. Put all Grandpa's stuff where it doesn't matter. It's not like it's a living toad.
Yeah. Say it with me. And some things that should have not been forgotten were lost. History became legend. Legend became myth.
Legend became myth. Oh, I don't remember.
And for 40 years, Charles Dellschau's magnum opus passed out of all knowledge.
Knowledge. Wait, 40 years? So
40 years.
Making it 19... I don't know how to do math.
So I'm not sure.
60.
Yeah. So I'm not sure who's living in the home at this point, whether it's like Elizabeth and she's still alive or it's like one of her kids or whatever, but it's not super important. What you need to know is that the Stelzig house is still in that family and they haven't moved out and they haven't done anything to like clean stuff up.
Hey, I get it. My dad was he was cleaning out this house, this like hoarder house they bought.
Yeah.
Stuff had been in the same spot since 1970.
Yeah. Okay. So At some point in the 1960s, a part of the Stelzig house catches fire. Not all of it, just like one little section of it. So the fire department...
I bet there was so much asbestos exposed after that fire. Because I learned that you shouldn't dig around in the dirt after a fire.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's full of asbestos, which I did in November.
Oh, no.
Full on dug.
Should have done this tab earlier.
Anyway.
We're all going to die. Not everyone really lives. Yeah. Anyway, so the fire department shows up and they're like, yeah, you got lucky here that it wasn't worse. So you probably want to go through and make sure you don't have like a bunch of old dried papers and shit to act as like kindling or whatever.
Okay.
So the Stelzig family, they all argue and someone's like, damn it, I told you to get rid of all that crap in the attic a million years ago. And someone else is like, you never understood my music. Fine, whatever. I'll just die in the gutter and you'll be happy. And they're all bickering. And eventually everyone calms down and they just take all the shit in the attic and they just throw it to the curb.
No. Oh, did someone street score that stuff? Because I love a good street score.
Yep. Including Charles's magnum opus, which no one has even bothered to look at yet.
I hate this family. I'm just kidding.
So
it's fine.
They just literally just like a one clump and they go just on the street. Now
that right there is like a honeypot for people like me.
I know, right?
If I saw a big, huge pile, and I do, I will get out and look through it.
So this might have been you. So this part's unclear, but someone, unknown person, at some point, like you, they saw the sidewalk trash and they're sifting through it and they're like, oh, I don't know if there's free furniture here or like this or that. Like, no one knows. It's not clear who it was or how this happened. There's that theory. There's another theory where like it went to a dump and somebody was in the dump looking around with like, a saber sword trying to be like, I can cut a camel's hump off and drink milk directly from it.
Drink milk right out of the hump. Drink that milk right out of the hump.
Wait, just out of curiosity, what's the best like dumpster, like honeypot trash thing you've ever found?
I found a zither.
What's a zither?
So a zither is like this old timey like harp.
Whoa.
I don't know how to describe it. It was like from the 60s. And I found it on the side of the road. And I was like, this thing seems cool. Brought it home. It's like very old and very cool. And so I was always it was always out of tune because all the little tuners were rusted. Uh-huh. And so I tried to tune it, but I couldn't. So I would just play really, really creepy out of tune songs for my roommates, which probably led to one of them moving out.
Do you still have it?
The zither is currently with my friend Erica.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know. I gave it to Ethan. Did Ethan have it? The zither, I don't know. I got weird. One day I was like, is this thing haunted? But it's not. Anyway, I gave it to Erica. There's a whole story with the zither, all right? I don't know how to... Anyway, I found the zither and I was obsessed with it and it was beautiful.
It sounds really cool.
That was one of my best finds. Yeah. And then I also found a car seat that was new. So
interesting.
I had to check to see.
Was there a child still in it as well, or it was just the car seat by itself?
I discarded the But then you can get it checked at the police station to see if it was been in an accident, and it hadn't. So it's just a free car seat.
Oh, I didn't know that that's what you would do. That's a smart move.
Yeah. Just
to be like somebody didn't just drop it off and leave or something, like run off and leave. Oh, that's dark. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
those are my street scores.
So some Hannah Hillam-esque type character.
Or hold on. You know all the signs I have on my booth? Like the wooden signs that I found? Those are all from a pile of wood on the side of the road.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's cool. So anyway, through whatever circumstance, whether it was you or one of your relatives or somebody like that, somehow this magnum opus ends up in a shop called the OK Trading Post in Houston.
Yes. I want to go there.
I'm sure you do. I don't know if it's still around or not. It might be. Remember, this is like late 60s. So
yeah. A 60s thrift store?
Yeah, right?
Oh.
And the owner, his name is Fred Washington. He's like, hey, this is kind of wacky. Sure, whatever. I don't know. And he just kind of stacks them under a pile of other crap that he has, saving it for the right patron.
What is the magnum? I'm going nuts.
That's the point.
What's the magnum opus? Oh.
The right patron. That right patron was a young woman named Mary Jane Victor. Now, Mary Jane Victor was an art history student and a photography student at the nearby University of St. Thomas.
Okay.
And in addition to being a student, Mary worked part-time for the St. Thomas Art Library under Dominique de Menil, which was Houston's preeminent art collector.
Okay.
So Mary, she's always going to junk shops and antique stores and looking around for the next big undiscovered thing to bring to her boss.
Never could be me.
This is basically you in the 60s.
I go to thrift stores bi-weekly, twice a week.
And on a Saturday afternoon in, I think it's like either 1967 or 69, one of those two, but let's just say it's 1967. She's perusing around the OK Trading Post, and Fred sees her. Fred knows Mary because she comes in a lot. And he's like, hey, Mary, how you doing? Classes are good? Hey, I was thinking of you the other day. I got this weird little package in the back. I'm not really a big brain art person like you, but I figured maybe like you or like old Dami could see some value in it. I don't know. Come check it out.
Never heard big brained art person as a sentence before.
So
usually it's big brain science person, but yeah, I like that you did that.
We got big brain art people.
Oh yeah, we got big old dumb
right brains.
Art brains.
Yeah. So he takes Mary to the whatever, like the secret back room where all the stuff is that's too good for everybody on the floor, and she like pays him a compliment, and he's like tripping over boxes.
A monkey spa. There's like a skeleton with too many arms, stuff like that. There's a zither.
Yeah, there's a zither back there, exactly.
There's an asbestos suit. There's a salamander.
So many just filled with salamanders.
Just the floor, slick with salamanders.
Fireproof. And
derailed.
He pulls back the cover. At long last, someone actually sees what Charles had begun working on almost 60 years earlier. Are you ready?
Yes. 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 Are you going to send it to me or are you going to tell me?
I'm going to do both.
Both.
So it's an illustrated manuscript and 12 large hand-bound books with more than 2,500 drawings, collages, and newspaper clippings, all pertaining to airships and the development of flight.
Oh my God. What a find. Are you kidding? If I came across that, I'd die. Wait. Okay. I love how they're like, neurodivergencies are new. And it's like, no, then why did Grandpa have 12 homemade books about airplanes? If neurodivergencies are new.
I'm not done. Much of it was written in code that required a cipher. Zodiac Killer style.
Yes.
Furthermore.
Yes. Okay.
Furthermore.
Okay.
In it, he recounts his experiences during the California Gold Rush.
What?
During which
he was there?
During which he apparently made his way to Sonora, California, which is about 130 miles east of San Francisco, and became a member of the mysterious Sonora Aero Club.
What? All the boxes. Ding, 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 ding. All the things I love. All the things I love.
I am not overstating this when I say that this shit is absolutely bananas.
I need more.
Yes. All right.
Okay, wait. So did he go to the gold rush? If I'm looking at the timeline, that means the years he was unaccounted for, he was in California because it was the 1850s and 60s, correct?
Yeah. Before you unpack this, I'm just going to send you one of the images that are in there.
And to bring family history back into it, one of my great grandpas did the gold rush. Oh.
Please explain this to the audience.
Oh. Okay, so this man was tormented. He was not well. So it is like this, it's like 3 airships that are like highly decorated. No, one of them's oh my gosh, it's like steampunk airships with wheels, and there's like dates. Houston. There's cutouts of motor stopped in midair. Oh, about the Wright brothers. It's like a collage, but he's also like kind of amateur illustrations of what looked like UFOs to me with like patterns.
So, you know who else thought it was bananas?
Who?
Mary Jane Victor. She convinces her boss, Dominique de Menil, to fork over some money to purchase a couple of the books. Because remember, there's 12 of them there. And soon, word gets out, and others come to buy the rest, including a man named P.G. Navarro, who's a graphic artist in Houston. And so began the quest to decipher what the shit Charles Dellschau was trying to convey in his Madman's Flight manifesto.
This is the bad man. Everything looks like a crazy person did it. Was he crazy?
We'll unpack all of that in the next episode.
No. I quit the show. Are you kidding? Are
Nope.
you actually going to do it?
I'll just
how come I've never heard of this? I've read through all the stuff about
because you're not friends with Kelly. Look at this other one. But so straight up, there's like thousands of pages of this.
This is beautiful. Look at the cross hatching. You guys have got to go see this. Canadian flyer to try Atlantic crossing flight. What is science, exact and otherwise? It's all these articles he's cut out and then drawn around these like fantastical airships that look like steampunk versions of. Oh my gosh!
This thing it's a treasure trove. This thing is incredible.
I'm obsessed with this. I say that all the time, but this is amazing, Kelly. How am I not gonna? I'm like mad that I didn't discover this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you see art and you're like, why didn't I do that?
Yep.
It's like, why wasn't I Mary Victor? Why couldn't I be her?
Yeah.
Because I want.
You gonna be okay?
Yes, I want so badly to go read about this.
There is quite a lot to go through.
You started the season 2 off with a 2-parter.
I didn't think I was going to, but I started reading about it, and then I was like, there's so much stuff to sift through that I was like, I gotta basically make sure that I don't rush this all into one tab. So
I almost did a 2-parter today, and then I didn't. Wow. Okay, the color choices are really cool. Do you know what he used to make these? Is it like paint, watercolor, pen and ink? Looks like.
Anyway, we'll get into all of that in terms of
I see
what the hell it was, what was going on, what the theories were. But remember, like I said, it's all about what's officially on the record versus what's not on the record, which is what makes this an interesting story. So that's my tab. You're gonna have to come back next week to figure out what the hell this insane person's 12-volume handbound 2,500 page books. Truly unhinged.
Bold of you to assume I'm coming back next week. But also, this is the kind of goal. This is goals. Like I was joking with my family that I'm like one mental breakdown away from being fully insane.
Yeah.
Maybe two. And this is the thing I hope for. If I ever do completely lose touch with the reality, I want to do something like this. I don't want to be the person who like walks around yelling about aliens. I want to draw some insane, indecipherable madman's manuscript. This is amazing.
Listen, I've read this tab and I was like, this is perfect for Hannah. This is the exact kind of thing you would want to know about. From the Prussian immigrant coming over to record keeping to a lot of deaths. Anyway, that's my tab.
Kind of left me speechless. I'm still grappling. That's incredible. What a good start to this season.
Yeah.
We got some really cool stuff, some bizarre stuff.
Okay. So it's time to go ahead and close our tabs, which I'm not going to close all of them, obviously, because
you can't.
I can't because I still got some left, but I'll close like a couple. I'll close like notes and stuff.
Let's see.
What do you think we should do for sounds for today's episode? A salamander catching fire? Actually, no, you can't catch fire.
No.
Something burning.
Or a steampunk airship crashing into the Texan desert. No, I don't know. What do we do? Do we just do something
fire?
classic?
Let's just do fire. Burning.
Like crackling?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Or we could just do a gun for fun.
Sure. Whatever you want. Whatever Alyssa feels like. Fire. Okay. You want to count us down?
Yeah.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Burn. Except the salamander is not burning. By the way, salamanders absolutely do burn.
Oh, right. It's good.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I didn't ever mention that. None of that's true. They burn at the same rate as other animals and people. So
good to know.
Don't go around thinking
PSA.
that's true.
Yeah. So listener emails, Hannah, you're up first.
Okay. This comes from Mariana from Brazil. Mariana says, Dear Hannah and Kaveh, first of all, I just want to say I love your podcast.
Oh.
Having ADHD and a STEM major, I'm always searching for interesting and bizarre stories to store in my mind, just so I can give knowledge to my friends without a reason or request.
That's a real friend.
That is. For a long time, your podcast was my open tab. Now I can't wait until the next episode every week.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
I am writing this email because I heard that the astronauts that got stuck in space will probably still be there for even more time.
Oh, no.
Since the trip planned to bring them back in January or February got delayed. Did you hear about that?
Flight delays, stupid Delta.
They can't
even bring astronauts back.
Right? Boeing. But seriously, imagine just being
You know who would hate
being
that?
stuck in space.
Charles Dellschau.
Yes, him too. I'm not mentally sound enough to be an astronaut. I'd be like, I think there's air on the outside, and I'm going to go find it.
Oh, we're all going to explode. That's every time.
Die.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd be like, I'm not going into space. What are you talking about? I'm not going in there.
No. Space?
Yeah.
Where people go to die?
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm coming in hot. So, and it got me thinking, what was the longest time a human stayed up there in one single mission?
Oh, no.
So I end up in a small rabbit hole. Turns out it was a Soviet guy named Valery Polyakov. And he stayed aboard the Mir space shuttle during 437 days.
Oh, no.
And 18 hours
in
one trip. That's over a year. That knowledge wasn't what most satisfied me, though, because then I found out that after the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, a man got stranded up there because the landing station the USSR used was near Kazakhstan, resulting in Sergei Krikalev remaining in space for 311 days.
No.
Twice as his original mission. So they lost Kazakhstan in the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and
they just couldn't land in Kazakhstan anymore?
Yeah.
Nobody in Kazakhstan would just let him land?
I don't know.
Oh.
She goes into it. During his mission, Sergei used to communicate with amateur radio operators on Earth, becoming the first case of communication between a person orbiting Earth and one down here with an amateur equipment. So ham radio enthusiasts.
He's just like,
let's talk to this dude.
Get me out of here!
Please make the Soviet Union a thing again. Using this, he formed a friendship with a woman named Margaret Yakinto, who would provide political information about what was going on in the world for the Mir cosmonauts without the censorship of the USSR. Yeah.
It's like his own
At the
podcast.
end of the trip, I know.
Space podcast.
Probably better.
Yeah.
Space Olympics. At the end of his trip, Sergei orbited the Earth 5 times and was 0.02 seconds younger than someone born at the same time as him.
Yeah.
Gotta love physics. Anyway, this was one of my tabs. Hope you keep doing this for a long time. I always have a blast listening to you. Lots of love from Brazil, Mariana.
Thanks, Mariana. That was very nice.
I just would love to be like, oh, I guess I'm friends with an astronaut now, and I'm kind of a political dissident by telling him what's going on.
That's the exact kind of thing that somebody would just be like, yeah, okay, Hannah, you sound like an insane person. And you're like, no, but believe me.
You're like, no, me and Sergei are friends. They're like, there's no
They're
one
like
named
the
Sergei
astronaut stuck in space. Yeah, they're like, cool, sure. Where is this Sergei? In space.
In space.
Is he in the room right now?
No, kind of on my radio.
Yeah. Where is this radio?
I get lobotomized as I should.
Is that the radio you found on the street next to the child safety or the child seat?
Oh, I found another good street find was a fully working typewriter from 1960.
Oh, that's cool. Anyway, okay, moving on to email number 2. It's from Dabney.
Dabney?
Hi, Kaveh and Hannah. My name is Dabney, and I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, and currently living in Pays de la Loire, France.
Oh, France. I opened this one, and I saw the French, and I was like, I don't know.
You're like, no thanks.
Because
you're deeply anti-French.
No.
I was reading through the Wikipedia list of folkloric figures for a lesson for my students.
Ooh.
I'm an English TA in a French middle school when I came across my tab. The Chesapeake Bay Monster, or Chessie.
Chessie.
It's both a local cryptid and environmental mascot. Okay, so you have heard of Chessie.
I don't know much about Chessie. I just know that there's a bunch of Nessies, like Nessie knockoffs, I want to say, or like parodies.
Tributes,
yeah.
The earliest alleged sighting was in 1936 from a military helicopter. In 1943, 2 fishermen near Baltimore saw a strange creature that was 75 yards or 70 meters long from their boat. Since then, Chessie sightings have been reported from both the bay and its tributaries. The most common description of Chessie is a very long serpentine creature with a football-shaped head, and there are no known snakes in the area that reach anywhere near the length reported in sightings. That makes it sound like she's basically just Charlie Brown, the football-shaped head.
Yeah, or Hey Arnold.
Or actually, you're right. Hey Arnold is more
Hey Football Head. Yeah, they called him Football Head.
In 1994, a manatee rescued from the cold water of the Chesapeake Bay was nicknamed Chessie before returning to Florida. Since the rescue, Chessie the manatee has returned to the bay several times. She got a satellite when rescued and has been photographed. Starting in the 1980s, Chessie became a symbol for environmental advocacy in Maryland, appearing in newspapers and government publications. And in 1986 and 91, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service released 2 educational coloring books, Chessie, a Chesapeake Bay story, and Chessie Returns, respectively.
Oh, that's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I love the show so much. I've been a fan since the early musical splaining days.
Hey.
And spent the entire weekend of my cousin's wedding telling my family about defensive defecation.
And what, Wicked?
Yeah, right.
You're like switching off between musicals and the other thing you talk about, which is defensive defecation. Just think about that. People started listening to you for the musicals, and they stayed for the defensive
defecation. Yeah. Stay Josie / Secundus Nixon chat here 5 times. Dabney. Thank you for the double sign off, Dabney. I appreciate it. As we said before, we really wanted to make Secundus Nixon chat here 5 times a thing. Nobody likes it.
It's clunky, I admit.
I don't know. We'll have to come up with a new one, I guess. Anyway.
Wait, I wonder if, like, you know how My Favorite Murder has Stay Sexy, Don't Get Murdered, and it's always SSDGM?
I do not know that, but now I know.
Secundus Nixon chat here 5 times. What would that look like?
SNSH.
Hold on.
FT. If you too have a listener email that you would like to submit, please send one to our email, 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500. Let us know what you found, like a fun fact about it. Send us the link and let us know where you're from. Additionally, we are still asking for voice memos if you want to write. A lot of people are just writing out the email and then reading it. It's fun to have them.
Reading it, yeah.
Trying to keep it under a minute.
Like 1 to 2 minutes.
If it goes longer than a minute, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I know that you and I, Hannah, both are basically like, oh my God, I went for like 1 minute and 10 seconds. They're never going to put it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're just,
don't get crazy about it.
That's the ballpark place that it needs to be. And
if you want to, sorry.
I was going to say, before we get into closing the show, I just wanted to say, this comes out on the 8th. If you're in Los Angeles this weekend,
that's right,
I'm going to be at the Fangirl Cafe from 6 to 8 p.m. We're having a screening for 1001 Nights. Not for mine, but remember Esra, our friend from the Mina panels. Esra and Yas, both fantastic. Mina,
awesome people.
People that I know. They've put this screening series together to show Mina films. And they were kind enough to offer to screen one of my short documentaries that I did more than a few years ago now, but it was relevant to it. It's about my grandmother. Hannah has actually seen it.
It's good.
It's about my grandmother making lava shack, which is fruit leather using, sour plums and stuff from her garden. It was just a fun little thing. I thought I was just going to shoot of her for just the archives. And I ended up doing a short little doc from it, and it was really fun. So it's going to be screening 6 to 10 p.m. And there's also going to be a feature afterwards.
It's really good. Like it was very touching in a I don't know. When you showed it to me, I was like, I really feel like I know your grandma.
That's very sweet.
From like nothing. Okay, just from this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It captured that like grandchild grandmother energy perfectly. Anyway, yeah, I could keep going.
Yeah,
do you want me to?
And she's funny. She's
really. I get it. I get why you're funny.
We were just bickering the whole time too.
Yeah.
This is really funny.
Yeah.
Not like mad bickering, but just sort of like just talking shit.
Don't touch that.
Yeah.
Don't do it that way. Stop.
And then I'd ask her a question and be like, isn't it this way? And she'd be like, no. And then by the end of her sentence, she'd be like, actually, yes. But she wouldn't say I was wrong. She just would be like,
she couldn't.
No. I miss her every day. She was really, she was a character. She was funny.
She seems really cool.
She was as the kids say, a sassy old broad.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
Watch this. Go watch this, everybody.
Yeah.
You can't see this anywhere else. Go watch it.
I'm also going to have some books there. We're also doing a raffle as part of it. I'm going to have I should have grabbed it for this. But I'm going to give away one of my my Seymour prints. Remember the ones that I've been selling at conventions?
Yeah.
In a frame. So that's highly coveted, and it's a nice print. So
they're rare.
They're very rare. So come to the screening. And if any of this is too complicated for you to follow, just go look up my Instagram at PermaFriends. I'll have all the information there. But again, Saturday, 6 to 10 p.m. in West Hollywood, Fangirl Cafe. Please come check it out. Come watch a couple of movies, meet some people, enjoy the Mina community of Los Angeles, and get to know some of us. It's a different vibe, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in LA, just drive in.
Yeah,
no big deal.
Just
right?
drive across the country. Easy. It's fine. Yeah, just take a boat.
Just drive. Take a boat.
Sail down below Chile, all the way up across. Mm-hmm. Don't take a plane.
Screw the Panama Canal. Who cares?
Yeah.
Go all the way down. I wish I could go. I'm pretty bummed I can't see it again. But yeah, if you want to follow me, Hannah Hillam, and I'll be at Emerald City Comic Con in March.
That's right. Just found out about it.
Yeah.
Additionally, you can follow the show. We're 500 Open Tabs on Blue Sky and on Instagram.
Okay.
But more importantly, join the Discord.
So fun.
Discord is just, it's always popping.
It's a full-blown community.
Yeah.
Like, really cool. Also, the Patreon, I post all the extras that we cut out. Most of the extras that we cut out. And there's going to be some from this.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's my first time back in like a month, and I'm insane. So you get to see all sorts of things.
We are Patreon.com. Crazies. But anyway, thank you to Alyssa, of course, for turning this around in such a short period of time, because we were all gone for so long. But yeah, we're really excited that you guys have come back and joined us for our second season. It's going to be even more mid. It's going to be even more chaotic. It's going to be even more fantabulous. I don't know.
Fantabulous. And like we always say, tell your friends and your therapist and your caseworker
and your psychic.
And your psychic and your crazy stepdad who wrote a manifesto.
But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for coming back. We're very excited. This year's going to be fun. We've got even more insane stuff to go through. So I'm excited to finish the rest of this tab for you, Hannah, next week.
I am too.
You're going to love it.
I will. It'll take everything in me not to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't look them up. Don't do it.
Why would you do this to me?
Yeah.
Like the first episode. Anyway, okay. Bye.
Nice to have you back, Hannah. Nice to see you.
You too.
All right.
It's been too long.
All right. Keep it Josie, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Keep it
See
Josie.
you next week.
And snoffed.
Snoffed.